So, hello, Devon. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well also. I am so glad that you decided to join us and you were willing to be a part of our podcast, a part of the energy we create, and assisting other women of color entrepreneurs and understanding the experience of running your own business. So no matter where they are, whether they're just in the dream stage and they're about to get ready to start their business, or if they've been in business for years, I feel like there's always something we can learn from each other.
I feel the exact same way. Thank you for allowing me to do this with you today. It's very exciting, honestly.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you're here. So let's start with allowing you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell them what your business name and exactly what your business does.
My name's Devin Brown. I'm 36 years old. I'm from Belton, Texas, a little small town in the middle of Texas, literally. Um, I I have a party planning business. That's where it started, but I also do t-shirts. Um,
Okay.
that's more what I do more than the event planning. It's called DevineCreations. I've started my business in 2018. So for the past 5 years, it's what I've been doing. I suffer from lupus, so that is the reason why I started Divine Creations. It's really helped me not only financially but mentally, emotionally. It gives me a goal to, and I'm a very creative person. Like that's always been my whole life. I love creating things. So it's really an outlet more than anything else.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So I'm glad we got to hear about your business and what you do in your business, why you started your business. So let's move on to you say you've been in business 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. We're so Devin, and you've shared with us your business. You've been in business for 5 years. And your creativity is what drove you to start your business. And also, you share that you have lupus. And that's also something that was an inspiration for you starting your business. So, when you first started your business, can you share with us what your initial process was? Was it a process that you had to learn as you go? Were you familiar with owning a business? Or how exactly was your entrepreneur journey at the beginning?
I can honestly say it was kind of difficult at the beginning,
Okay.
because even though I grew up, I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur for over 30 years. He owned
Okay.
his own business. So it was kind of, I had an idea, but I really didn't know everything that went into it. I started because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and so I would do their party decorations.
Okay.
And my husband said, "You should make this a business. Like you're really good at it. You should make it a business." So I said, "Well, I got a whole bunch of free time. I might as well start. Let's see where this goes." And I'm one of those people that I prepare. Maybe I over prepare. So before I started my business, I did classes. I made sure I got certified in certain
Ah,
areas. I just wanted to, if I was gonna put out a product for people, I wanted to make sure that it was top of the line. It would be something that I would buy, because people spend their hard earned money. They don't want something that's subpar.
you're right,
So
you're right.
I made sure I did a lot of research. Like I said, I studied other event planners. I took online courses. So I did become certified as an event and hospitality manager.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then from there, once I started my business, I didn't realize how to really manage. Even though before I got sick, I was a retail manager for 10 years.
Okay.
I
Okay.
worked in several different stores. So I kind of had the manager, running stuff down. But
Yes.
when it comes down to marketing and, using social media and, and in my area, it's a lot of competition for what I do. So
Okay.
I had to figure out how to set myself apart from others that are in the area.
Nice.
And since then, I've, a lot of trial and error, I've lost money in it, but then I figured out how to gain the money back to where I have become successful and turn a profit.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. So you started out having been around a guardian who had a business. So you were around the energy of entrepreneurship, but not the details of it.
Right.
Starting your own put you into the realistic details of it. And
Yes.
it was a process. Wonderful.
Definitely. And a lot of people nowadays, it sounds fun to be an entrepreneur, and you think that it's very easy, like you could just go out there and do it. Mm-hmm. And if you're not prepared, you will fail. Like that's how I look at it. And that's just the honest truth.
Yes.
And I think the more knowledge, because even now 5 years in, I'm constantly learning, trying to keep up with trends, trying to see what my consumers want. And not only that, now I've branched out to outside of just Texas and Central Texas.
Okay.
I've shipped, different countries. Like I have an order right now that's going to Samoa.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've shipped to Puerto Rico and Canada. So it's like I said, you're always learning. And as an entrepreneur, if you're not trying to learn, that's another, you're not gonna progress like you need to.
Got you. Wonderful, wonderful to hear that you have expanded internationally. That is wonderful.
I always say DevineCreations is like the little engine that could.
Yeah.
It started out something so small. Like even now, I tell my friends, I said I'm humbled because I never thought it would get to that point.
Right.
I'll make t-shirts for, local people or, stuff like that.
Right.
Not unrealistic, but now to be able to say that I'm sending stuff to other countries, and I've made shirts for the XFL this past season. For one of the teammates' families. So it's just little things like that. It's a blessing.
Right. Wonderful. And I think some of the key things that you just shared with us is that you never stop learning. Correct. When you start your business.
I could give any entrepreneur, and no matter what niche that you go into, there's always something to learn. Mm-hmm. And you have to be open to it.
Right. So how would you say your business, the event planning or the t-shirt business industry has changed since you first got into it?
Like when I first started, there's different, with the t-shirt business, for example, that's always changing. And so when I started, it was pretty much vinyl designs.
Okay.
But since then, now they have certain printers to use and different formats to use now to make shirts that, you have to buy a certain type of printer or a certain type of machine to do. And so a lot of customers want those now versus just the vinyl t-shirts. Okay. So I have to learn how to make those type t-shirts, for when those are requested. Right. And so that industry, it really is like a monthly thing.
Oh, wow.
New always coming out.
Really?
There's new machine that's coming out. There's new things that you can create other than t-shirts. I do canvases, I do mugs, I do cups, so I had to teach myself how to do all of that.
Okay.
It's ever changing. So
okay. Do you have is your business home-based or store-based, storefront?
It's home-based. Okay. I have a little area in the back of my home, and I call it my she layer. Okay. You can kind of see behind me, my different things, but yeah, that's where I do all my creating.
Okay. And do you have a team or is it mainly you?
It's mainly me. I do have a person, her name's Erica. Even before I started DevineCreations, where I used to work, she was an assistant manager with me there. Okay. So we're kind of joined at the hip, but she's the one that I bounce ideas off of. I get her critiques on things because she's just as creative as I am. Okay. So But I also, you know, like my mom and my boyfriend, like I'm always asking, you know, can I do this better? What do you think I can change? You know, I'm like I said, I always want to learn. I always want to improve because, you know, that's only going to make me better.
Right,
And that's
right.
the product better, which in turn will bring more customers.
Exactly. Very important. Very, very important fact you just mentioned was making sure your product is of quality because
Exactly.
that creates a satisfied customer.
Yes, like I just had a customer because this is a military town, so I get a lot of you know, like army wives, and then they get stationed somewhere else. And I just had a lady who used to live here. She ordered 17 shirts for her daughter's birthday party, and I shipped them to Michigan.
Okay.
She's like, you know, I love your work. I want you
Uh-huh.
to keep doing all of my stuff, so I'll pay for shipping. You know, so
And there you go. You have a dedicated customer because of the
exactly.
quality, her
Exactly.
experience with you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Very key. So in starting your business, what would you say was your greatest obstacle or
Um, at,
challenge?
at first, it was financial
Okay.
because I had to get different equipment that I didn't have before. I used to do everything by hand. And
Okay.
because of my lupus, of course, I couldn't do it for too long because I have arthritis.
Uh-huh.
So I actually did a birthday party for my goddaughter. And one of the ladies that was there told me about a cricket machine. I
Okay.
had no idea what it was, but it just turned out to be the greatest gift that, you know, that I could have ever asked for. It makes my
Wow.
job so much more easier
Oh, wonderful.
because it cuts everything for you. So I don't have to do
Gotcha.
anything.
Ah,
Um, but it really is the financial part of it because I'll tell you, just to be very transparent, when
uh-huh.
you become a business owner, you're gonna lose money at first, most likely, but
Okay.
you have to go to it with that mind state.
Mm-hmm.
And once you know, okay, I may be in a deficit. How am I going to turn this around? What
Okay.
can I do to turn this around? And so I was at first, maybe like the first 6 months. It turned out I was giving a lot of freebies and giveaways just so I can build up my clientele. So in
Got
that
you.
aspect, I was losing money. But when
Yes.
I built up my clientele, then of course they started ordering more. So I did build up and started making a profit from that. So
Okay.
if you go into it with a business plan, I feel as though you can always persevere through those hard times.
Okay.
And another best advice I can give is just because you might fall, you know, in the negative, don't necessarily mean to give up. Because
Okay.
it could just take one order or, you know, one customer, and that could just turn everything around.
Right. Right. Wonderful. So you spoke about basically investing in your business in the beginning in your marketing efforts as far as, doing giveaways so that people can gain exposure to what you do and find out about what you do and then later on become customers. And
Right.
that giveaway process was basically no profit in it as far as monetary, but a
Correct.
lot of profit down the line and more business. So
Exactly.
it was a business decision to do that.
Yes.
Okay, sounds
And I
wonderful.
would do that maybe like once a month, you know, and that was also a way for me to drive people to come to my webpage or my social media pages. Um, and I would do giveaways that way. If you like and follow my page, you know, I'll enter you for a free t-shirt or a
Okay.
free mug. And like I remember I started in May of 2018. So for back to school, I did a giveaway where I made decor for a classroom.
Okay.
And so I had people nominate teachers uh,
Ah,
to win the decorations because I have a lot of friends that are in education, and one of my
yes.
best friends is actually a principal. And so
Okay.
I always thought about how can I give back in that way? Because when
Yes.
you think about it, whoever wins, okay, now they're going to see my decor in the classroom. They may tell another teacher, and then now I have another customer.
Yes.
You know, so it's all about patience. It's
Right.
about
Gotcha.
communication. You know, in marketing, that's the biggest
Right.
thing.
So where did you get your marketing ideas? Did you just come up with them on your own or did you do
Um,
research or?
Definitely did research.
Okay.
I joined a lot of Facebook groups.
Okay.
That was my specialty pretty much, like all the
Gotcha.
crafting groups. And
Gotcha.
I would join small business groups, and I asked a lot of questions. Because
Okay.
sometimes I get to where I feel as though I don't know where to start. Once
Right.
I start, I'm good to go. I have a plan.
Okay.
But it's just taking that first step.
Right. Right.
Like earlier, like I overthink. My best friend, I overthink. I should just do it, but sometimes I don't. I almost talk myself out of things because I don't think it's perfect.
Got you.
And that's another thing. Like you cannot, nothing ever is going to be perfect in business.
Okay.
And once you get rid of that mind state, it makes everything else easier. Well, at least for me.
Right.
Because there's no such thing as perfection. And if you think
So true.
you're just setting yourself up to fail.
Exactly.
And
I
also,
totally agree.
Also, always don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace, in anything that you do.
Right.
But in marketing, it was also a lot of trial and error.
Okay.
I did, like I said, I did research on, I did like the coupons, I did giveaways, business cards, and now like I'm learning how to do TikToks and stuff. And
yeah.
That's a whole thing in itself.
Right.
If I could figure out a way to hire someone to be like a social media manager, that would be great.
Yes.
I'm not like the TikTok.
Well, let me insert a tip right here. You should search on Fiverr, Fiv, I think it's Fivver. That's where they have people who are like subcontractors. They have certain expertise. You can tell them what your project is, and they'll give you a price for that project. Say you want to have 5 TikTok videos. You can tell them that's what I need. You can tell them what your budget is. You can find someone within that range who would do that for you.
Oh, I will definitely be looking into that.
That or Upwork is another one, UP Work. Because I know as entrepreneurs, we have to wear a million hats. Yes. And it's impossible for anyone to be great at everything. So there are certain things that we need to outsource. And like you said, we're figuring, we're like, if I had someone who could do this for me, that would be great, because the time it would take me to learn how to do this, I could be doing something else that I'm best at.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, I'm making another shirt while I'm sitting up here trying to get the right angle with my camera and start and stop. It's just a lot. But what I have learned, especially with TikToks, you can gain a whole new set of customers.
Right.
Just from people looking at a 30-second video.
Yes.
So that's another thing. Like I said, with always learning, that's what I'm in the process of learning, is how to do that.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. So you've talked to us about marketing, about networking, following Facebook groups to learn about how to market, and also going through trial and error, basically, to figure out what worked best. You talked about finding things that will expand your market and understanding, being aware that you can't do it all. So you will look for resources to assist you in those areas to expand your market. All of those are great information. Always, and also underlying that is your message to always be willing to learn. I love that. Don't try to be perfect, because there is no perfection. Just do your best, and I think that's a great point, because I know sometimes that's what paralyzes us, because we think it's not yet perfect. Let me work on it some more. And what happens is we never put it out because we're still working on it.
Yes.
Instead of realizing it's never going to be perfect. Let me just put it out with my best effort.
You can always tweak it later. That's the beauty.
Yes.
You can always put it out there and be like, oh, maybe if I change just this. But at least it's out there.
Yes.
For everyone to see.
Yes.
Because I was gonna like what you do.
Right.
Even if you don't think it's perfect, it may be perfect to someone else.
Right.
So you just always have to take a chance and bet on yourself sometimes.
Wonderful. 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 A lot of great gems you're dropping. I'm really enjoying this. So let's see. So when we talk about being an entrepreneur, especially an entrepreneur who has health challenges, what do you do when you need to renew yourself spiritually and as far as your well-being?
Well, I'm very faith driven. Grew up that way. And now I'm really getting back into church and things like that. It Prayer helps me out a lot.
Okay. Yes.
Honest, and that's just being honest.
Mhm.
Everyone is different. Some
Mhm.
people depend on religion, some don't, and it just
Right.
depends. But at the same time, I meditate. I do. I have to listen to my body, and I'll be very honest. Before I got sick, like I said, I was a manager. I was a
Mhm.
store manager and a co-manager of different companies, and I was working anywhere between 40 to 80 hours a week sometimes. So
Wow.
I very much go, go, go.
Right.
And so for me to get diagnosed with this disease, it was like my life changed very drastically.
Right.
And even now, I was diagnosed at 24. So I've been dealing with this for 12 years now. And I still don't know the ins and outs. Like there's days I wake up and I feel great. And I feel like
Right.
I can any and everything. And then there's other days where I just want to lay in bed and do absolutely nothing.
Gotcha.
And just recently, I had surgery 2 months ago,
Mhm.
and I got right back to work that same week.
Wow. Wow.
Like I know I wasn't supposed to, but it's just that's what keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
Is when I have something to do. I think
Gotcha.
that's just how I grew up, and my family
Right.
is. Even my mother now, she is very much when she's off work, she's bored. So it's just something that is, it's just instilled in me.
Right.
But I do try to take time for myself. I love being outdoors. I have dogs and they're pretty much my best friends. Like
Okay.
I'll just go outside with them.
Mhm.
Like I'll listen to podcasts, to try to, mellow myself out. Like I said, a lot of meditation. I'll do guided meditation because I do suffer
Okay.
from ADHD. So
Okay.
I couldn't for the longest do it on my own.
Right. Right.
I was distracted and I was like, I'm wasting my time because it's not
Right.
helping. Like, I felt as though I needed it to help.
Okay.
So I do guided meditations, and that's just from YouTube videos.
Right. Right.
5-10 minute ones. I
Right.
have a podcast that I found that it's called Everyday Positivity.
Okay.
And it's maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, but it's just what I listen to first thing in the morning just to get me going.
Gotcha.
And then I have like a music playlist that I listen to that's encouraging music and upbeat music, because I'm a firm believer that your surroundings will affect, you. If
Yes.
you're around activity, you're gonna feel that energy.
Right.
And so okay. It's all a mind state thing.
Right.
And I'm actually taking classes right now also to be a life coach.
Okay.
So I'm double duty right now.
Right.
But that was always my goal, is to be a psychologist.
Okay.
So the DevineCreations kind of just, it was a happy accident.
Got you. Okay.
Ultimate goal is I want to help others. Okay. Especially with everything that I've been through, I feel as though I can help someone else.
Right. Right.
Any way I can be that, and even on my social media, I try not to post anything negative. I don't watch the news.
Yes. Me too. I agree with you on that.
I can't, because even like when I go visit my mother, she lives in Houston. She watches the news. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, right. I'm going to go in the other room till you're done.
Right.
It brings me down, and I'm a very empathetic person.
Yes.
And so when others are upset, that makes me upset.
Right.
And I don't like seeing people hurt at all. Like,
right. And that's all the news is about these days. It's about,
if I can distance myself from that, I'm definitely going to do that in any way I can.
Okay. Wonderful. So that's how you manage your spiritual and mental wellness. You meditate, you attend church, you use guided meditation, which I think is a very key point and would probably help some of our listeners, because some people can do the traditional meditation without guidance, and then some people need that guidance to help keep them focused. So that's a great option. And like you said, they're all over YouTube. You can get one for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however you want to start. But meditation, I think, is very important. It's very greatly helpful. So
And then
we
I've
talk.
also educated myself on like breathing techniques.
Yes.
And once I learned how to do that, like sometimes I'll be in the middle of an order and I'll just start doing deep breathing exercises.
Right.
Because they really do work and they really do calm you down. And like I said, anything to make you feel balanced, I say do it.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
second guess. Just try it. If it doesn't work for you, but at least you know that doesn't work for you.
Right. Right. I love that. So that's taking care of ourselves is very important. And finding out what works for us is very important. So I like that you said, try it and see if it works for you, because that's all it takes to figure out what works for you. Breathing techniques, meditation, listening to a positive word first thing in the morning. That's only a couple of minutes long, finding a podcast that feeds you. And what was the title of that podcast again?
Everyday Positivity.
Everyday Positivity.
It's a lady, she's actually from the UK, and she does it every day. And on Sundays, she even gives you like journal prompts, because I do writing also. That was something I left out. I do journaling, and I try to, and I have the app called the Gratitude app. Okay. So every day it gives you either a prompt or you can write yourself, and it's just what you're grateful for. Yeah. And I think sometimes, especially in the world today, we forget, even the smallest things, be grateful for that. Yes. And so that, and even in my planners, because I have a lot of planners, I'm very OCD. I even write, I write in there, like I'll write an affirmation, and then I'll write, today I'm grateful for this. Right. Don't go into detail or anything like that, but it just reminds me, to be grateful and to give thanks to whoever you worship, or, whoever you believe in. Right. But it's not a spiritual being. Even if you believe in the universe, you can still thank the universe for whatever you're going through. Exactly.
Okay, you're speaking my language right now, because my whole concept is holistic wellness, that we take care of our spirit, our emotions, our physical wellness, and our mental health. And you hit on all that with the things you were speaking of, the meditation, the gratitude. Gratitude is a big one. I remember Oprah saying that gratitude would change your life. If you do a gratitude journal every night before you go to bed, it will change your life.
Yes, I'm a big Oprah fan.
Yes, listening to positivity. Yes, amazing. Wonderful, wonderful techniques and tips that I hope our listeners are taking notes on, because these are the things that allow us to show up as our best self. One of the things that I say all the time is fill your cup first and then serve others from the overflow. Because if you're empty, what can you give someone else? Nothing. And if you're just a little beyond empty, the quality of what you have to give is the poorest quality. It's not your best self. It's not the best you have to offer. So I love that. And I also love that you speak about everyday things, because I believe self-care, holistic self-care, is an everyday job. It's not just for a Saturday to go out to lunch by yourself. It's every single day. You have to put in the work to maintain your best self, or your highest quality self. So I love those tips you gave, and I hope our listeners are taking notes, because you gave us a lot to work with. Wonderful. So we talked about your business journey, how you're expanding internationally. Let's see. Have you ever thought about closing your business?
Yes.
Okay.
There
Tell
are
us about
times
that.
where you know, you might get a customer that is just a lot. And it affects you mentally. And
Yes.
this is, I don't want to say it's a hobby because it's more than a hobby, but it's something that I choose to do versus what I have to do.
Okay.
Because I love to do it, but I don't necessarily have to do it.
Okay.
And so there's times where, I might get a hostile customer. Now, granted, I've never had any negative reviews. I've never had any issues like that in 5 years. Not thank God. But you do have those customers sometimes that their communication may be off. They may be rude.
Right.
And it kind of makes you go, you know what? I don't have to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this.
Right.
But then I remember why I started, why I put up with it, because I really do enjoy doing it. I love doing it. And then when I am done with the order, like the feeling of completing a task. And I'm one of those people, if you give me a challenge, I love proving people wrong. Like if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to send it to you. Like I can do anything.
Love that.
Yes. Like my favorite Bible verse is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yes.
And I really do feel that way. I feel like there's nothing that I can't do. And I believe that for anybody. If you love something, you will do it and you can do it.
Beautiful. And
don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yes.
And so in those moments, that's when I say, okay, why did I start DevineCreations? Why am I still doing this 5 years later?
Right.
And it's because I love when people tell me, oh, I love this shirt so much. I can't wait to order another one. Oh, this was perfect. This is exactly how I wanted it. This is exactly how I envisioned it. And my love language is words of affirmation. So it's like all that is, like you said, filling me up. And it makes me do it all over again. It's just like a repeated cycle.
Wonderful.
So those few bad apples, I have so many good ones.
Right.
The good definitely outweighs the bad.
Okay.
So that's why, I haven't quit. I don't plan on quitting, but I definitely have days where I'm like, you know what, forget this, I'm going to bed. Or forget this, I'm going shopping. I don't want to deal with this. Right. Find someone else to do your shopping.
Beautiful. I definitely, and I know our listeners appreciate your honesty because
and I mean, and I have different friends who are also entrepreneurs, and even them, and we don't all do the same thing. Okay. But they'll tell you the same thing. There's days when they're like, I have a full-time job, I'm not dealing with this. But then they remember, hey, I put my time, I put my effort, I put my money into this. Let me keep pushing. Right. And then you'll get to the point where you forget about all the bad things that have happened. Right. And then you'll like, well, why was I even upset about that?
Right. And the thing is, as you point out, that moment passes, but the thing is to know that you have to allow yourself to feel those feelings. Yes. That it's not, you're not a bad business person because you feel those feelings from time to time. Right. Like, I just want to stop this. That's part of being human. Exactly. It's part of being human. You're not required to be perfect and happy all the time about everything. You are allowed to feel like, okay, I want to stop now, But then what you said, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I have learned is that the faster you deal with your emotions, the sooner you get to the other side of it.
Come on now. Come on.
That's how I look at it. Like, yes. I'm not a person. My mom will tell you, I have pity parties sometimes where I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. Why am I going through this? Why? Yes. Life's not fair. But I give myself one day and that's it. Yes. My pity party is one day. I hate the misery loves company. I don't want to make anyone else feel bad because I'm feeling bad. Right. So that's why I myself one day, I have my tears or whatever I'm going through, And then I always look forward to, there's always tomorrow. That's one of my favorites. To me, tomorrows are always new beginnings. So just because you had an unproductive day today, that doesn't mean you're going to have one tomorrow. Right. That doesn't even necessarily mean you're going to have one by the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Right. It's how you look at life. Mm-hmm. But I also believe that you are entitled to give yourself those moments, because when you, like grieving, a lot of people look at that as a negative connotation to death. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to grieve your situation. Yes. Like with my lupus, I always say I have grieved my past life before lupus. Mm-hmm. That person's gone. I can't be that person anymore. Yes. But now I'm a new person. But just like the 7 stages of grief, that could be for anything. Yes. Not just death. Life and death, exactly. Exactly. And it can be for. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. Right, they don't. They deal with those emotions. Right. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad or angry, but deal with them. It's when you don't deal with them, that's when you get in depression and severe anxiety, and really bad things could happen. Right. So tell any business owner or any person, period. Right. If you're going through something, it's okay. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's a definite part of your wellness, is to allow yourself to go through that. And like you said, if you try to avoid it, it's not going to go away. No. It's going to be there. It's going to interrupt your life in some way, either emotionally, spiritually, or physically in your body. So you have to respect that you're feeling this way and let that feeling just go through you and deal with it. Like you said, I like your idea to give yourself a day to have a pity party, as opposed to running away from it. So and I used to be that person. I wouldn't deal with my problems. I just figured I'll just fake it till I make it. Eventually, I'll fake it so long they'll go away. But that's not dealing with anything. Right. Excuse me. And we hear that a lot, unfortunately, in the media. Some of the messages we receive is to just suck it up. That's right. When, just suck it up and move on. But a lot of times people, that works, but I'm not one of those. Right. And for most people that doesn't work, because it's one thing to work through things, yes, but to work through them and respect your feelings at the same time. Right. You have to do both. You have to have balance. Now too is boundaries. Yes. Because I have never really had them. And my best friend will tell you, like me and her, it's funny because we say we're soulmates, but she's so opposite of me. Right. That we always say, like, I wish I had this of you. And she, well, I wish I had this of you. And she helps me with that. Like, you have to have someone who holds you accountable. Right. Okay. And I think that's a big step in growing, period. Even in business, you have to have someone tell you, hey, you need to stop doing this and do this. Mm-hmm. It's okay to say no to someone. Right. If you don't feel comfortable doing something, don't do it. That doesn't make you a bad business person. Right. Because I deal with guilt a lot. I feel, that I'm not doing enough for someone, or right. I've done this for this customer or something like that. And it's good to have someone say, hey, no, you did the best you can. Right. And it's great. So quit being so hard on yourself. Right. Wonderful. You're right. We need that, because to your point, sometimes we beat up ourselves too much. And yes. We want to give more than we should be giving to be a profitable business. First of all, sometimes we want to overgive and end up hurting our bottom line, which is not why we're in business. It's okay to make a profit. It's okay to make a good profit. And if that is something, like, I'll tell a customer, I'm never rude to a customer, but I do have people that say, well, what are your prices? And I'll give them my prices. And then they'll say, well, this person is this price. And, it's, you don't want to say, well, then go to that person. Right. But you have, and then that's when I say, well, I'm sorry, but this is based on materials, time, you know,
Right.
X, Y, this is why I charge this. I try to give an explanation as to why I charge that price. You know, I don't want to just say this is number I made up, either pay it or don't.
Right, right.
No, there's a method to the madness.
Got you. Right.
And what I've learned that most people that even when they say, well, I found a cheaper price somewhere else, they still end up coming back, you know. And I'll never overcharge someone or try to get over on someone. And there's times where, you know, maybe I've made a mistake or I may be running late or something, and I will give a discount, or I might do something for free, or I'll deliver it myself. To me, that's just being a good business owner.
Right.
You know, without stretching myself too far and allowing, you know, a customer to take advantage. Like, for example, I was doing shirts for a customer for a sorority, and the colors that she needed were off. They wasn't the right color. And it was my fault because I should have confirmed it. Even though I had it for her before, I just naturally assumed it was the right color. But it was off. And so I just redid the shirts, and it was like 4 or 5 shirts. And I didn't charge her because for me, that was my mistake. So why would I try to charge her for something that I did? Right. And so especially when you're selling something as a business owner, you have to take those type of things into consideration. Right. And I know people say the customer is always right. And for me, it's like to an extent. But, you know, for the most part, they are. But, and like I said, in that instance, she was definitely right. That was my fault. So I needed to fix it as a business owner. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Taking responsibility for the quality of your product is key. So you've been in business 5 years, and you know most business struggle to make that 5-year mark. So that's a milestone for entrepreneurs to reach that 5th year. So congratulations to you on that. Kudos. That's a great accomplishment. So I hope you are taking a moment to pat yourself on the back and celebrate that, because that's a really big deal. Yeah, I definitely try to. I do. Great. I think about it all the time. Like, I just sent my 1,700 invoice. Wow. I'm just like that. Like I said, it's a blessing. That is wonderful. It is. Like, it's exciting. It's you know, wonderful. To start from 1 to 1,700. Yes. That's a beautiful thing. I'm like, is this really happening? Little old me. Right, right. What a beautiful thing. Okay, so having been in business 5 years, when you look at your business, what do you see for yourself in the next 5 years? I would like to end up having a storefront. That is the ultimate goal. And I also would like to become a vinyl seller. Okay. And work out of the store. If I could do that, that's like the main goal. And then I also want to start teaching classes on how to make t-shirts. Because when I was younger, I have a picture when I was in 2nd grade where I had made a t-shirt because my aunt was into crafts. And so I want to try to do that for, you know, someone else to learn. Because when I started out, there was no instruction manual for the machine I bought. I literally had to go on YouTube, take notes, you know, do it myself. Right. So if I make that just a little bit more easier for someone else, you know, I'm all for that. So that's my goal for the next 5 years. That sounds wonderful. And you know, with that, being able to teach people how to create a t-shirt, that brings to mind, you know, how they have these paint and sip places where you can go and you can paint and sip. That sounds like a wonderful group activity to be able to go somewhere and design your own t-shirt. So that sounds wonderful. And I'm very, I'll tell you, like, I'm very ambitious. Yeah. So, and because when it comes to that, I can be impatient. So it's like I have these goals and I want to do it right now. But it's right. Take your time. It's a process. You just can't go rent out a store tomorrow and start selling your product. You know, it's a method to it. So but you got that passion. Yes, I love that passion. I'm sure our listeners can they're in touch with that, because as entrepreneurs, we are dreamers.
and we never quite stop dreaming. We're always dreaming. So
Always.
it's like a normality to be doing one thing and thinking, but I want to be there. I want to be there. I want to be here down the line. So that's beautiful that you have plans and you understand it's going to take time, but I do have these plans. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so your business, your t-shirt, your event planning business. What would you say? Would you say there's any mentor in your life, any business mentor that you go to? Because you spoke about bouncing things off your best friend. Is that basically your process when you come up with an idea, when you're trying to figure out how to do something differently?
Yeah, and in this area, I usually go to her, or like I have a group of friends, of best friends, and
Okay.
we've ever. So I'll go to them and I'll send them a picture and I'll say, "What do you think of this?" Or "What do you think I can do with this?" And or they'll send me stuff and be like, "You think you can make this?" And I'll be like, "Well, I'll try. Let's see if I can." And then also my boyfriend and my mom, because to me those are the most honest people in my life. They have no
Don't try to sugarcoat it.
No,
That is wonderful.
They have no problem telling me. Like my boyfriend will be like, "Babe, nope, you should have scooted it to the right a little bit." I'm like, really? But yeah, and those two are, I'll go to them and be like, "Well, what do you think about this?" And I know they're gonna always give me God honest opinion, and my mother very much so. If she thinks something is a bad idea, she'll tell me. And I can say, for anybody who wants to start, I know we're backing up a little bit. When I decided to start my business, my mother was not supportive of it. Okay. Not saying that she didn't believe in me, but she was afraid that, financially it would put me back, and then put me maybe like in like a depression or anything like that.
Gotcha.
She didn't believe that I couldn't do it. She was just afraid of what could come out of it.
Gotcha.
So I want to tell anybody who, if you do have that dream, or if you really believe that something can work, go for it. No matter what anybody says.
Yes.
Because now she's my biggest supporter.
Yes.
And she'll come to me and say, "Hey, make me this."
I
have
a
shirts just her size. And she'll say, don't want to take my shirts. Those are my shirts. So that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you really do have to believe in yourself.
Yes.
Because this is something I've never done before. And so with her, she's like, "Why do you want to, this is kind of coming out. I know you wanted to be a psychologist. Now you want to make shirts." Like, but once that's the two ends of the spectrum.
Right.
So I understood where she was coming from. But I don't want anyone to think that you can't do something just because someone may not think it's a good idea at the time. Right. And just because you never, doesn't mean that it won't be that moment later. Right. And so even she's apologized to me and everything, whereas like my aunt is the total opposite. She's just like, "Go for it." I'm so proud of you. Like, I get messages all the time. She's like, "My creative niece," that's what she calls me.
Wonderful.
So, have that support team, but sometimes you have to be your own support team.
Right. That is so true.
And so that's what I told you about, like writing the gratitude and writing in my planner every day. I do that for myself. Like, I tell myself, keep going. Even though you might not feel good today. Because there's some days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't even want to look at my phone. Because I just Lupus wise, I don't feel good. Right. But I'll write something down. I'll get motivated. Like, I have pictures on my walls, because I have a lot of nieces and nephews. They keep me going. I look at them. I'm like, okay, this is why I do what I do.
Wonderful, wonderful. So some very key things you said there. If sometimes you are the only keeper of your dream and other people can't see the vision because it wasn't given to them, it was given to you.
Exactly.
So don't use or don't allow their lack of seeing your vision to stop you from going forward. Do it anyway because the vision was given to you. Believe in yourself. And then find ways to support that belief in yourself. Meditate, write gratitude down, do whatever you need to do to get it going. I really love that. That is great advice, great tips for our listeners, because sometimes you don't have that support. It is just you and your big dream. And sometimes I've even heard it said that sometimes you have to keep your dreams to yourself while you're working them through, because no one else will understand them.
Exactly.
And instead of letting their doubt feed you into having more doubt, just keep your faith and keep that dream and work on it yourself.
And they'll eventually see the same
Exactly.
vision, especially the people that truly love you and support you and want the best for you.
Right.
Even though they might be like, I don't know about this.
Right.
But if they love you like they say they do, even if they doubt, they still will support you. Because I do believe you can do both.
Right.
You know, you can be for someone, even if you don't see it or understand what they're doing or what they're thinking. Sometimes you just need to be there for someone.
Exactly.
And that's what my mom was for me. She didn't understand it, but she's the one who bought my first Cricut machine.
Right.
She has bought my heat presses. You know, she believes in the vision.
Right. But had you not gotten started, right,
she would have never understood it.
Exactly. So that's key. And also sometimes people who are saying, I don't see that, or I don't think that can happen. They're, like you said, they're trying to protect you, because what they're looking at is how the fallout will affect you. What if this doesn't work? Or, what if you put your time into this and it's not what you think you want it to be? I don't want to see you hurt at the end of this tunnel. And that's where they're coming from, trying to protect you. But you have to charge on through that. You have to do it yourself and just go with your dream, because it was given to you. So I definitely agree with that. So wonderful. Great information. So as we wrap up here, I want to ask you some things that you can share with our listeners, that will share more about your personality with them as the owner of your company, DevineCreations. So the first question I ask you is, when you think about a great meal, what would you say is your favorite food or favorite cuisine?
Let's see. It's a tie. I love pizza.
Okay.
I love pizza, but then at the same time, one of my favorite foods is gumbo.
Okay.
My family originated, it's from Louisiana.
Okay.
So I ate a lot of Cajun food. So I could gumbo, even though I'm allergic to seafood. My grandma would make it with just chicken and rice and sausage.
Okay.
She would make it with everything to where I would get sick.
Nice.
So even to this day, like if my cousins make it or my uncle makes it, I'm like, hey, put some to the side for me.
Right.
But pizza is probably something I could eat every single day.
That is such a spectrum. Gumbo and pizza.
Yeah, I'm a very weird eater. I'm the worst eater in the world. But yeah, those would probably be my two.
Okay, wonderful. Gumbo and pizza. Okay. So hobby. What would you say is your favorite hobby or your favorite pastime?
Of course, crafting.
Okay.
I love spending time with my nieces and nephews. I have 16 at this point.
Oh wow.
Are
they all in Texas?
Yes, they're all in Texas.
Oh wow.
Two of them are in Seattle, but all the rest are in Texas.
Gotcha.
And, I mean, they're not blood nieces and nephews, but they basically are. I've been there. I'm Auntie Devon.
Your auntie got you.
All that's what they call me. And so with them, it's especially with my boyfriend too, because we don't have kids, but they, whatever they want, they get pretty much. It's hard for me to,
I know you're the favorite auntie.
Oh yeah, I get text like, hey Devin, can you send me this through Cash App? Yeah, okay, whatever. And then I love watching documentaries. I'm a nerd.
Okay.
I love like watching games. I love learning. I've always been that person. Like I
Got
want to
you.
know why stuff works.
Right, right,
I was
right,
that child in school that would take apart a pen and look at all the parts and then put it back.
right. Got
So
you.
I'm like that now. And then
Okay.
I know this is really weird, but I watch wrestling. I love wrestling.
Really?
Yes, I love wrestling and football. And that's because I grew up around nothing but boys. I was the only girl in my family for a long time.
Oh, wow.
I have a really big family. So out of 8 grandchildren, I was number 6. So it's all boys.
Oh, wow.
I kind of had no choice but to grow up liking,
Yes,
and
yes.
just kind
Yeah, you had to do what they wanted to do.
right. And so I've always watched football. I've always watched sports,
Right.
wrestling, anything of that nature.
Got you.
I always tell my mom's fiance, I said, I'm the son you always wanted. Because he has I'm like, I'm the son you probably always wanted.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's think about travel. What would be or what is your favorite place to travel to?
For my 30th birthday, we went to Jamaica. And
Okay.
so that was so much fun. And I love travel. Actually, one of my favorite places is Florida. At one
Okay.
point, we're going at least once a year. But for my 40th, I do plan on going to Europe. That's what I really want to do. I want to go to Rome and eat.
Beautiful. Okay.
I'm
with you there.
So I want to go to Paris and I want to go to Rome.
Sounds good. Sounds beautiful. All right. Well, as we wrap up, I want to give you a chance to tell our listeners where they can find you on Facebook and any other place you want to share with us. So go right ahead.
I'm on Facebook, under Devon Brown. I have my own personal page, which is public. And that if you go on there, you can also find links to Devine Creations. You can go to the Devine Creations page at www.facebook.com/DevineCreations01. I'm also on Instagram at DevineCreations18. And I'm on TikTok, which is also at DevineCreations01.
Okay, great. So we got Facebook, guys, we got TikTok, and we got, what was the other one? Was it YouTube?
Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
And I will be having YouTube coming soon. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And then also we will be working on, not Twitter, but the new one, Threads. I'll also have a Threads link coming soon also.
Okay. And so your t-shirt orders, do you do they can go on your website and they can find out what the quantity, the minimum quantity is and everything else about ordering from you?
Yes, they can contact me directly through personal DM, and you talk to me every single time. So
okay.
all I request is what design you would like, and then of course I'll give prices. I ship all over the world. There's, like I said, and I can do any quantity. I start from 1 all the way up. I range from newborn sizes all the way up to 7X.
Okay.
Any color, any style.
Okay.
It's just whatever the customer's preference is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Devin, I want to thank you so much for coming on with us, for sharing your business journey, your experiences, your attitude, and the quality of life you live for your wellness and total well-being. You gave us a lot to think about, a lot of great gems and tips that I hope my listeners caught. But it was wonderful speaking with you. And again, we appreciate you coming on the podcast, and we wish you the best success in your business.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been you just the greatest. Like, this is my first time ever being interviewed, and I was kind of nervous about it, but it made me feel so comfortable, and I really do appreciate you and allowing me to talk about my business and my journey on your podcast. I really do appreciate it.
Sure. Pleasure was mine. So you take care and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll look forward to looking you up on the internet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.